Hello, you guys. Turn that music off. I'm so sorry. I have let me get my mic over here. I have an injured dog, so I'm going to make this really quick. I never know. I'm having to help him walk around, like helping him eat. Like it's so sad, but it's sad because like yesterday was his birthday and that's when he got injured. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Let me check my audio. I think y'all can hear me, so we're good, but I'm going to double check because it doesn't look like that music turned off. So for all I know, music's just going while I'm talking. Okay, we're good. So I'm going to make this really quick because he's just, I don't know when he's going to need something. So right whenever this was going live, he like poked his little head up, and so I helped him get some water. But now that he's awake, he might need to go potty. So I'm going to rush through this. Sorry for that. I hate to do that, but I also didn't want to not come on here live. So say hello. Let me know you're here. I am drinking some water. Let me know what you're drinking. And let's dive in. So the crushing times. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed. Perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not abandoned. Struck down, but not destroyed. No one wants to have their heart crushed, but being wounded in deep places happens. Sometimes it just seems to be part of the rhythm of life. And when these hard times come, we feel it all so very deeply, and we wonder if others have these hard moments. After all, we don't snap pictures of the crushing times and post them on Instagram. We just wonder if we have what it takes to survive. When the doctor calls and says he needs to talk to me in person about the test results, when the teacher sends me one of those emails about my child, when I feel so utterly incapable and unable and afraid. I suspect you know the tear-filled place from which I speak. So let's journey to the olive tree and learn. To get to the place I want to take you, we must cross the Kidron Valley in Israel. John 18:1-2 tells us, when he had finished praying, Jesus left with his disciples and crossed the Kidron Valley. I hope I'm saying that right. On the other side, there was a garden, and he and his disciples went into it. Now, Judas, who betrayed him, knew the place because Jesus had often met there with his disciples. Jesus often met in the shadow and shade of the olive tree in the garden. This garden is the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus, just before his arrest, said to Peter, James, and John, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death." Mark 14:34. Jesus knew the crushing heart feeling. He felt it. He wrestled with it. He carried. And I don't think it was a coincidence that the olive tree was there in that moment of deep sorrow for Jesus. The olive tree is such a picture of why our hearts must go through the crushing times. The crushing times are necessary times. First, in order to be fruitful, the olive tree has to have both the east wind and the west wind. The east wind is the dry, hot wind from the desert. This wind is so harsh that it can blow over green grass and make it completely wither in one day. The west wind, on the other hand, comes from the Mediterranean. It brings rain and life. The olive tree needs both of these winds to produce fruit, and so do we. We need both winds of hardship and relief to sweep across our lives if we are to be truly fruitful. The crushing times are processing times. Another thing to consider about the olive tree is how naturally bitter the olive is and what it must go through to be useful. If you were to pick an olive from the tree and try to eat it, its bitterness would make you sick. For the olive to be edible, it has to go through a lengthy process that includes washing, breaking, soaking, sometimes salting, and waiting some more. It is a lengthy process to be cured of bitterness and prepared for usefulness. If we are to escape the natural bitterness of the human heart, we have to go through a long process as well. The process of being cured. The crushing times are preservation times. The best way to preserve the olive for the long run is to crush it in order to extract the oil. The same is true for us. The biblical way to be preserved is to be pressed. And being pressed can certainly feel like being crushed. But what about 2 Corinthians 4:8, where it says, we are pressed but not crushed? Let's read verses 8 and 9 in the King James Version. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. This was one of the biggest aha moments for me, standing in the shadow of the olive tree. Crushing isn't the olive's end. Crushing is the way of preservation for the olive. It's also the way to get what's most valuable, the oil, out of the oil. Keeping this perspective is how we can be troubled on every side, yet not distressed. Pressed to the point of being crushed, but not crushed and destroyed. I need to revisit these truths often. When the sorrowful winds of the east blow, I forget they are necessary. When I'm being processed, I forget it's for the sake of ridding me of bitterness. And when I'm being crushed, I forget it's for the sake of my preservation. I forget all these things so easily. I wrestle and cry and honestly want to resist every bit of this. Oh, how I forget. Maybe God knew we all would forget, and so he created the olive tree. Dear Lord, I'm so thankful that on the other side of the processing of being broken and waiting is a useful heart, free of bitterness. Help me to hold fast to you when the days are especially hard. In Jesus' name, amen. So I actually felt like the Lord was speaking to me just now. That's why I was breaking up a little bit, because it's so weird. We have a dog named Olive. So I hear the name often. But over the past 3 days, I have heard the name way more than the norm around this house, because I have been meeting olives. I was even just watching a movie where one of the lead characters' name was Olive. And when I heard her name on the show I was watching, I thought, Lord, what are you trying to tell me about olives? Like, I keep hearing the word or the name olive. And there was something in me that knew the Lord was trying to tell me something. And then literally like half an hour later, I'm reading this to you guys. And I just really, as I'm reading it, just felt like he was confirming something to me. And it has been it's been quite a month, and I felt that pressing and that crushing, and I felt like I was on the verge of despair, and he just pulled me out. I went and had breakfast with a good friend and poured a lot into a lot of the issues I was going through onto her, and she really just gave me some encouragement. And she had gone through a similar thing before, and so she shared with me how she got through it. And I don't know, I came home and I prayed. I broke a lot of things off of me, and I felt freedom, um so much freedom, and that oppression was just lifted off of me. And so over the past week or so, I've been feeling so much better, feeling myself again. And so when I read that, it's like, wow, God, because I felt that heaviness so much, that I thought I was going to be crushed. Like, I was telling myself, this is it. I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like, I don't know if I can keep holding on to hope or faith. And I just kept holding on to God. And I would tell him, I don't know if I have the faith anymore or hope anymore, but I'm holding on to you, God, for dear life, because I do not want to lose you in my life. And if I go through life and all I have is just a clinging to you, that is good enough for me. Even if I'm not feeling faithful, if I'm not feeling hopeful, if I'm not feeling joy or peace or any of those, the fruit of the spirit, I was to the point where I was like, I don't need to feel any of those things or have those things in my life. I just need to cling to you, God. And if that's what the rest of my life is just a clinging to you, that's okay. I'll take that. And And of course, he loves me. He loves me too much to keep me there, right? He loves me way too much because who he is that fruit that he wants to bring into our lives. And so, the more I kept pressing into him, and the more I just kept leaning into him and praying, just that oppression was broken off of me. And he gave me, he gave me that peace and that joy back to me. And so, just that was such a good devotional. If you heard my voice cracking, that's why, because I literally had just asked him, God, why do you keep saying the name Olive to me? Why am I hearing it more than normal? Because we have an Olive in our little dog family. And so I hear her name, I say her name constantly. And so when I'm realizing that it's like more than just her, literally just asked him, what are you trying to tell me here, Dad? What's going on? And he confirmed it right in front of you guys. And it just went perfectly with what he's been doing in my life over the past month. So he is so good, you guys. He is so good. I can't even get over how much he loves us and how much he will speak to us and confirm things to us and just continue to lead us through life. He's so amazing. Like, his beauty just awes me every day. So I love you guys, and I pray that y'all have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. I'm going to run off because I have a dog to go and take care of. Love y'all.